Good grief, something smoked out the loves. I thought it was fog at first when I come out, but I realized that that was a truck that has much more wrong with it than needing a good burn. So we're here in Willow Springs tonight, and we're racing the storm. So let me show you what we're up against. Good night. You see behind me, that's all smoke. I've been having to turn the valves off at night because I can't keep that APU from leaking. There's that valve. There it is. Valve number one. Valve number two back here. They all leak from the same spot, and they're hard to stop. Just that little junction down there. The colder it gets, the worse they leak. I had to do this on my old truck. I couldn't keep that sucker from well, I should have checked the antifreeze while I'm here. I couldn't keep my old truck from leaking at all. So as you see here, this is the storm that's coming through. It's just outside of Dallas right now. The warning starts at noon just south of me here, so I've got to get to New Albany, Mississippi, and we're probably going to get buried. So let's finish up our pre-trip and get out of here. Now, I know what y'all are saying. It's a snowstorm. Big whoop. It is big whoop. Not that it's a snowstorm. I can deal with that. Dealt with hundreds of them. It said it's a storm. It's a snowstorm in Mississippi. And I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about everyone around me. If they get 1/8 of an inch of snow in Mississippi, if it starts flurrying, they freak out. And I told dispatch this. I said, I'm delivering at the Walmart down there in New Albany. I said, if we get to New Albany, I said, I'll be there before the storm. I said, but I may not be able to get there. I'm actually predicting that when it starts falling tonight, that truck stop's going to pack up, and we're going to stay packed up till probably Saturday afternoon. And if I'm trapped in the truck stop, there's nothing I can do. And chances are, Walmart will probably close because nobody shows up to work. So it ought to be interesting, and we'll have to make a few phone calls and find out what happens. But now we need to get going. Now I've gone and hooked up good old Unreliable here. Maybe we'll get one last hurrah out of it. But I just kind of wanted to back up for some extra B-roll footage, so that's kind of what this thing does when it wants to work. So I should probably put my seatbelt on before I get out of the parking lot. And next stop, Jonesboro. Now we are headed through the woods right now. We're gonna head through the woods and go that way. There was 2 different ways I could have gone. Come on, shift, you pig. One was going across over to St. Louis and south, which I didn't want to do because finding a place to park over there sucks. Once you get south of St. Louis, it really packs up. But this was really just kind of the shorter way, and because the ice and stuff hasn't hit, I think we'll be all right. So we're going to have to see what happens. It's going to be a little tougher going, but we're running winter blend right now, so it doesn't pull worth a crap. of the things that I was really worried about coming down this way was how far the snow line was. Snowed quite a bit up north. I didn't know how far south of Springfield it went. Apparently it got to just barely Willow Springs, but we go a little south here, there's nothing but frost. So there's no snow. Because going through the woods, the one thing you get worried about is since it's just a 2-lane, since US 63 is a 2-lane, you tend to worry that where the trees cover the road is there going to be slick spots. And that's something we're going to have to work on. But I ran into, while I was looking at some trucks that came up through here, and nobody said anything, and the trucks weren't covered in ice or water or dirt, so I think we're okay. So yeah, so we got about another 30 miles. I think it's, is it 30 miles? I think it's 30 miles to the border, which is a fast 30 miles, and then you got 16 to the turn, and it's another 24. So it ends up being a pretty quick run, as long as people are moving like they're supposed to be, which they rarely are. And I'll be slower than usual because I got winter fuel on. So oh boy, red light. All right, so well, we're in Jonesboro and we're waiting. This guy's filling up, but apparently this Ashley truck had better things to do. So we're gonna top the truck off here, top the reefer off, and just kind of go from there. So they're watching this guy. This dog just rolled the window down so he could peer out. It's kind of funny. Saw the window go down, saw the dog go out. He wants to be part of it. It's about time. Oh. So we got our fuel. I washed the windows, and apparently I did a completely stellar job of it. So 2.5 hours later, the storm's gotten to Little Rock. They're just getting mixed up right now. So it's moving. It'll be here shortly, but I'm the blue. But Little Rock is getting screwed up, but we got a winter warning here too. As you see, I'm 144 miles out, 2 hours and 20 minutes. Looking 4 to 6. It's gonna be pretty rough, but nothing I haven't done before. But here's the warning. So, yep, we'll get there. Right at about 118 gallons. Then I put 7 in the reefer. This winter blend is, I lost almost 2 miles a gallon with the winter blend, so not liking that at all. But I know if I fill up there in Mississippi, one, it'll take me twice as long, and two, I don't think it's blended down there, so really don't want to play that. But with the price of all this, I'm starting to think it'd be cheaper just to buy the additive if it was still $9 a bottle, but it's not anymore. So let's get going. I'm not sure which way we're going to go across. If we're going to stay on 55 or if we're going to go across 40. We will play that by ear when we get there. It's just about 4 minutes difference, but it's about 10 miles difference, so 12. and 6 one way, half a dozen the other. Well, going around the loop. The loop's fine. It's just right there at the river, so we need to see what's going to happen at the river. So I guess we'll catch you at the river. So we made it to New Albany. It's not bad outside yet. It's actually pretty tolerable temperature wise. It's just 36, 37 degrees. Where I've got it delivered is about half a block that way. It's supposed to start snowing a little later on this afternoon. Maybe closer to tonight, but looks like it's actually might go a little further north, so I'm kind of interested to see what happens there. I'm just really interested to see how much is actually going to fall, really. So I guess we'll just keep our eyes open and see what happens then. Well, as you see, the storm's coming through, and where I'm at here, and seems like, according to this future radar, it's just going to dissipate just west of me, which is fine. But according to what the weather's telling me, it will be here tonight around midnight, so I'm curious. So I guess all we can do now is wait. We'll see you then. Well, it's the next morning. I had my camera set up to record and it fell down. I woke up about 1:30 and looked out, and nothing had started falling yet. So this has all been within the last 4 or 5 hours. So let's go out and see. If you're sitting there looking at Google Earth, you can kind of just follow the path where it was at. Looks like it's hitting Atlanta, but this is where we're at right now, and I think it's going to make for an interesting day. It is still coming down really hard out there. Not too much. They said between 1 and 3 inches, and from what I see on the ground, that looks about right. It's coming down pretty good right now. My only fear is, am I going to be able to make it up that ramp to the road? But here in a couple hours, so we'll see. The snow keeps coming off the roof, and this is actually off the roof, so just keeps sliding down. But it's a wet, heavy snow. I've been sitting here watching guys leave the truck stop, and you can almost see the moment of regret the minute they start heading that way. Had the plows out already. Well, I had a plow out, so I don't know whose cousin owns that, but I think it's going to be an interesting day. Well, the one thing I forgot to buy was an extension cord, but got coffee going, and it apparently has stopped snowing. So I guess we're going to play this by ear and have to figure out how to get the truck cleaned off. We still got to get to our delivery. Well, we made it. Wasn't hard. All this rain has actually melted the snow. Another question is, there's a Trans Am truck pulling a prime trailer, so that's new. We got here. It wasn't as rough as they said it was going to be, but I had to plan for the worst. Of course, there was a consequence of getting here. Most of the people didn't show up for work. I'm not sure anyone actually showed up to work on the dry freight side. They said if I had dry freight, they were just going to have to turn me around at the gate. But I got frozen, thankfully, so I got in, but they're only letting, I think they said, a total of 10 trucks in at a time. So looks about right. There's about 6 or 7 of us here right now, but half the people didn't bother to show up today because it was snowing, and I knew this would happen. It's not my first snowstorm down south, and well, that's winter coming. It's about my 3rd storm already. Truthfully, this wasn't bad at all. Everybody thought I was being an alarmist. It wasn't that I was being an alarmist. It's that when you come down south in the wintertime and you know there's going to be this much snow, you absolutely have to plan for the worst. I mean, literally the worst. This turned out actually really well, other than the fact nobody bothered to show up to work. But, and if this guy hits me, well, we're going to have trouble. Winter down south here is always a really unique experience, and truthfully, the way this is going to go today, I might be unloaded in an hour or 2. I might be unloaded in 6. I don't know. And I'll just have to play it by ear. That's why I bought 2 nights at the truck stop, because all this here in about 6 hours will be ice again, and we'll just have to try it again tomorrow. These guys might shovel, but they don't use salt down here, so guess we'll just have to see. So we got it all taken care of. It's done. Load's done. Turns out they got me unloaded in record time. I think from what the guy at the guard shack was telling me, nobody showed up to work. They were only letting 10 trucks in at a time, something like that. And they were really worried about who was going to come in on the next shift. So I'm glad I had that first shift, because nobody showed up. They weren't even taking dry freight. They were just turning it away. So yeah, it was rough over there, but they ripped it all off because they were just working one crew, rip it off, rip it off, rip it off, and they were just doing it, getting people in and out as fast as they could. In fact, it warmed up to about 37, 38 degrees here with the rain, which actually turned out to be a good thing because I got unloaded early. Made sure all the roads were wet, not icy. It melted all of it. And I actually drove 40 miles, picked up my other load, and since I'd already spent the money for a night at this truck stop, I turned around, came right back here because I was going right past it anyways, and I don't have to be up in Wisconsin until Monday. So I got 2 days to get up to Wisconsin. It's easy peasy. But aside from that, I mean, winter down south doesn't seem like much to the guys like me who run up north all the time, but the guys down south, it's a whole different world down here in the deep south when it snows. So, excuse me. That was just my trip. Nothing serious, but like I said, I may have sounded like an alarmist, but the fact that I'm glad the people who showed up did, because if I'd had dry freight, they would have turned me right back around and I'd be sitting here at the truck stop. So these are things you just have to be mindful of. And if you see an opportunity like I did to go get my next load and come back, take every opportunity you can to get loaded and get on out, because they'll shut it down here. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Hope you had fun, and we'll see you next video.